on average, we're seeing fill rates only hover now for available inventory between 20 to 40% across the board from the majority of our
Yes.
partners that we have entrusted to sell the inventory. And so I think just asking that as an open question, programmatic as a fact is not filling the need right now for our inventory. What would you say to that?
I mean, I would say as a publisher, you should have a multi demand, right? And it's not all binary. I think that if you look at the whole thing, you should have everything from, do you have like those kind of direct brand ads like managed service? For sure. Like if I've got, baseball, great. Pick up the phone, sell position one, make that via direct. But position two could be PGs. You could look at PMPs. You could look at, I mean, we have said no Wild West, but like, I mean, there's even open exchange. Or in the case of Fremantle, great, we work with you. Like, we have an ability for you to buy your content within the Roku channel with supply extension. I think that you can't depend on one or the other. But I think that programmatic to me has like so much more advantages in that it can drive meaningful success for the advertiser in real time. Not just like trying to fill airtime, but actual like media outcomes.
So then let's talk about pricing. So currently, with the amount of inventory available on the market, the price has consistently come down for programmatic. I think to some all-time lows is what we're seeing. And just because, we're seeing that linear audience really migrate into CTV, which is good for all of us, right? But it is an open challenge right now. What would your response be that the programmatic pricing is the lowest it's ever been? Even if you're filling it, we're filling it at, and we're kind of bringing down the bottom of the market.
Yeah, well, I think there's no question that there's been a drop in overall effective CPMs if you're a publisher. I think that is accurate, but I don't think that the way to combat that is to say that it has to be direct and brand ads only. And in fact, for like as an example, like the strategy you can do is to say, great, here's a CPM for managed service. I'm going to make that a floor. Like I know that optimization and being able to like say floor plus is like the number one optimization capability that an advertiser has in a DSP. Great. That seems like a great pricing strategy. I think that there's a lot of ways for you to do that and still make the yield. Also, not everything has to be just filling airtime. Video on demand should have collapsible ad units. If you're a distributor like Roku, Philo, etc., then there's a lot of ways that you can be able to use that slate for really important messaging as well. I don't think it has to be just based on fill rate.
Yeah. I would also say, I think that the pricing situation is like, that is not just a programmatic thing. That is just an ecosystem thing, right? I mean, there's a lot of premium inventory out there right now. And it is about, showing the value depending on what an advertiser is trying to achieve. And so there are different things like, prioritization and so I just think that the concept of the pricing being a programmatic issue, like I think that the pricing is broader than that.
Yeah, I also think that we've had an evolution where it wasn't like it used to be just about rating points, right? Who's your audience? What's their gender? What's their age? Like, great. And then I'm going to do that in a closed loop system on linear and just like blast it out and be like, I did a good job for your buy. I think what we're seeing now, at least what I'm seeing at Roku, is that a lot of these marketers are being held to accountability on those budgets. I wouldn't say return on investment, but like they're being held to accountability, in which case, like, I don't think you can just call up and lock up a budget. I think that that ability to have real-time responsiveness is something that everybody's holding us accountable to. And I think from there, like pricing is pricing, fine, but at the same time, I think our inventory is even more valuable and impressions are going up.
Yeah, but the pricing is going down because of the bundling with the, it's not all 100% premium. So, and when you prioritize that, that premium content for direct and for sponsorships, then it's just basically what's left.
Yeah, but I think that if you look at an entire catalog, I'm going to pick on Roku and Philo for a second. Like, you do have tentpoles for sure, right? You have also commoditized licensed content. We have original titles. I think all of those have different pricing, either based on for me, like content profitability, audience scarcity, like all of those things. I think that there's a real way to be able to do that. I also think that in programmatic, you shouldn't just have one deal. There should be a PG for certain cases. There should be a separate deal for sports. There should be a separate deal for viral moments, like Kendrick Lamar on American Idol is what I'm hearing. But you know, I think like there's a lot of ways to be able to do that, and it should all be based on packaging. If I think that for things like direct, et cetera, like where to me technically that makes the most sense is either moments of like really high concurrency, like live sports, latency will kill you. That's really bad. Or even the case of like something like really hyper targeted. Like sometimes I see IOs where I should probably just fly to Seattle to go to a parking lot and like put on postcards on cars. Like they're like that specific. I say direct all day because that's just something that has to be like pre-decisioned. But the rest of it, I think everything that you can do in direct, minus those limitations, like I think you can confidently do throughout a variety of programmatic strategies.